What's good everyone, Shirt here bringing you guys a DDD deck profile. Somebody requested this down in the comment section yesterday on my Necros profile video and I told him 2 to 3 weeks, but then I just got a dueling book today and thought, okay, I love this deck so much, I own some of the cards in real life, I really want to try and make this deck good. So I sat down and dueling book for a couple of hours, and shout outs to James111 from dueling book. He's also one of my subscribers. I don't remember his YouTube name, but he helped me test and I actually realised how good this deck was that I've built and how amazing some of the combos are. So without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. The deck is really strong, to be honest. It can set up really good boards. For example, I've set up a board of Firewall Dragon, Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, DDD, Cursed King Siegfried, and a copy of Vanity's Fiend. So that is really good. It basically stops anybody in their tracks if you manage to make that board going first. So to start off the deck profile, we have 3 copies of the big one. Ragnarok, DDD, Oblivion King Abyss Ragnarok, I think his full name is. He's a really good card. Most of the time you'll use his scale effect, to be honest. It's rare that you summon him because before Link format, you normally summon him by banishing Swirl Slime from the graveyard and then use his effect to obviously bring something back. Obviously you can still do that, but a lot of the time, because I need my normal summon on other stuff like Kepler and another card which I'll get into later, I normally banish Swirl Slime from the graveyard to special summon Lamia from my hand instead of normal summoning Lamia like you would normally do back in the original DDD combo. So I normally use my Swirl like that, so I don't summon it too often. But its pendulum effect is amazing. It sets up, it brings back monsters to your field for Link fodder. It can bring back your big monsters like your Genghis and your Alexander, making it easy to go into Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon and Siegfried and all that stuff. It's really good if you summon Genghis, use his effect to bring something back, and then use Genghis's effect to bring something back. That's really strong because that's like kind of a double monster reborn, and obviously that's one of the main strong points of DDDs, because they have so much graveyard recursion, bringing back Lamia constantly, making synchro plays, making fusion plays. Obviously not as strong as before, but with the cards I've incorporated into this deck, it is still more than playable, and Ragnarok's a really necessary card. You don't use its banishing effect too much anymore as well, because you need your Kepler for Link fodder, and the card you normally tribute off to use its banishing effect was Kepler. When you summon it, you can tribute your Genghis off to banish something just to clear up the zone, but it doesn't happen too often, as I've said. So he's mainly there for his pendulum effect. He's a very strong card, and I really do love playing it at 3. I wouldn't cut it down to 2 or anything, because you really do need to see this in your hand for a lot of the combos. Next up we play the Searcher, the 0 attack point Searcher. 3 copies of Double D Savant Kepler. Kepler's amazing, searches out your contracts. I used to play Witch, so it had like 3 search targets, but I don't play Witch anymore, I just play the Gates and the Swamp King. So Kepler's fine, you just normal summon it, get something out, you can special summon it off 1 for 1, banish Swirl from the graveyard, special summon it. A lot of the time though, you're banishing it away with a Law of Darkness because you've already got your combo pieces, but that's 100% fine. It's another card that adds to the consistency of the deck, and that's the issue. I wanted to make this ready for Link format without playing too many inconsistent cards, so you have to keep Kepler at 3 just to make sure you always get your combo off. I'll tell you guys about the combo around the end of the video when I've gone through everything. Next up we played possibly one of the best cards in the deck, if not the best card, your enabler of everything, and that is Double D Swirl Slime. It's so good that you can fusion someone without using the fusion spell. The fact that you can banish him from the graveyard to special summon something from your hand, that is amazing. That is one of the most necessary effects in the deck. It's keeping it going. It got semi-limited in the OCG because of how good it was, same with Lamia, but now I think they brought it back to 3 now because obviously Link format. We've still got it at 3 in the TCG. You have to play 3 copies. I would never recommend cutting this down to any other numbers, because Lamia, Swirl Slime and Necro Slime, they're the 3 cards you need for the combo, so I would always keep them at multiple copies. Next up, as I've just said, we have 3 copies of Double D Necro Slime, or DD Necro Slime, however you want to pronounce it. But yeah, Necro Slime is really good. You'll fuse it with Swirl Slime and then use its effect from the graveyard for the combo to banish it, and Genghis to summon another Genghis. So it's a really solid card. There's not too much I can say. I wouldn't cut it down to 2. You can cut it down to 2. It won't hurt too much, but I really don't recommend it because it hurts the consistency, and you really do need it in your hand for the combo. So obviously keep that at 3. There's not really much more I can say about it. Swirl Slime is the better slime, but you still need Necro Slime to do your combos. Next up, the card that causes all the huge boards and everything, 3 copies of Double D Lamia. Lamia is absolutely amazing. You can keep on bringing it back with Genghis, keep on bringing it back with Ragnarok and Alexander and everything. It just keeps on hitting the field. It's a bit annoying that it banishes itself after it uses its effect, but I understand that because it would be totally broken if it didn't banish it in itself. Most of the time you'll summon this, of course, by banishing Swole Slime from the graveyard. If you already have the right setup in the graveyard, you can normal summon it, but you're not going to normal summon it too often. You guys don't understand how many times this card gets brought back from the graveyard. It's a really amazing card. Always keep this card at free. Your main tuner, the one that summons your Crystal Ring, the one that summons your Siegfried. So I would definitely keep this at free. So next up, I did mention this at the start, and it might be in the thumbnail, but we have 3 copies of Vanity's Fiend. Now you're probably thinking, sure, bloody hell, you must hate Zoo and all special summoning decks so much, despite the fact you're playing a special summoning deck. But most of the time, despite the fact that I say you do need your normal summon, you only have 5 normal summons in the deck. That's 3 Kepler and 2 other cards that I'll go into after. So a lot of the time, you'll have an extra monster on the field to tribute off Vanity's Fiend, and the good thing about Vanity's Fiend is the combo gets messed up when a Genghis is blocking your zone and won't let you summon Crystal Ring. You have to summon Siegfried first, obviously, to get the Genghis effect off, but then Genghis is blocking up his zone because it's been summoned from the extra deck, one of Decode Toker's zones, obviously, because of the other stuff that we played in the deck to get Decode Toker out. But Vanity's Fiend is really good because you can tribute off that Genghis, put Vanity's Fiend in a different zone, and then sync up for your Crystal Ring, and then you'll end up with a board of Decode, Siegfried, Crystal Ring and Vanities, and that is really, really strong. I play 3 copies because I want to see it as often as possible, and because I do play Pot of Desires in this build, so you will banish a couple of copies or 1 copy off a lot of the time, and there's Allure of Darkness as well, so if you draw too many copies of any card in this deck, and that's what's so amazing about this deck, you can just banish that off. So 3 Vanities, you can cut it down to 2. I personally love playing 3 because I always see it in my hand, and going first, it's really good. Going second is not the best, but it's still okay. But more people can say you shouldn't main deck it because True Draco Demise is a thing. I understand that True Draco Demise is a thing. However, Zodiac are more predominant than True Draco Demise currently, because Zoo are still broken. The fact that 1 Zoo monster can make Dryden Hammerkong is amazing. Barrage can do even more. So obviously Zoo are more predominant. Plus, most people who are playing True Draco are playing True Draco Zoo, so they're still special summoning. So I still think it's necessary to play Vanity's Fiend. Yes, it's not the best against True Draco and even True Draco Zoo because the traps can destroy it, but it's not too much of a big deal, to be honest. 3 copies of this is amazing against Invoked, Lightsworn, all the other rogue decks. Vanity's Fiend really shuts them down. Yes, against the meta, against True Dracos, it's not the best, but there's another deck that is really good against, and that's Dinosaurs. If you manage to summon this against Dinosaurs, it's very unlikely that they'll out it, and you most of the time will win. And one of the best things about it is that it is an amazing side out card. So if you're going second against True Draco, all you have to do is take out the 3 Vanity's Fiend and put the 3 Kaijus in from the side deck. I'll tell you which Kaiju it is because the Kaiju that we're using is very important, but we'll go into the side deck later. But it's an amazing side out target, and I'll talk about it later about why it's so good to side out. Next up, we have 3 copies of Golfu. Now you're probably thinking, sure, it's going to get hit. Yes, it might get hit, but for now we're playing 3 copies. This is for August 2017. To be honest, I kind of got away from the opinion that Golfu should be hit. I wanted to stick around. I think Konami might keep it around because I think it's kind of like a Norden case where it's one of them cards that Konami know is good, but they're not going to hit it until it becomes problematic. And right now, Golfu is really not problematic. Even after the new ban list, which is Zodiac and True Draco, Dinos become the best deck, and Dinos don't need Golfu. ABC will use it, of course, but ABC still aren't as strong as the other decks. But in the OCG, if you guys have seen it, it's basically like 30% Dinos, which is like the majority, and then the rest is just like tiny little slots of other decks like Invoked and True Draco. True Draco Invoker's Masterpiece is still a thing in the OCG. But yeah, triple Golfu, to be honest, I think it will stick around. Konami are a bit weird when it comes to cards like this, but you have to play it because 1 card Decode Toker is too good right now in this deck. And most of the time, the thing is, people will think, oh, but if you don't draw Golfu, you lose. That's not true, because you always draw Golfu because you play so much draw power, so much deck thinning with your searches and stuff. You always draw Golfu. There hasn't been a game where I haven't got to go through one way or the other, and I've tested quite a bit with this deck. So Golfu is amazing. I would keep it around. Before I used to play less draw power, but then I realised I'm going to play more draw power just to get access to it, and I don't regret it at all because Golfu is too good in this deck. Decode Toker is amazing. The fact that it has negation and stuff is even better. Next up, we have 2 copies of Armageddon. Now you're probably thinking, but sure, DDDs have their own Foolish Burial card, Copernicus. But the thing is, I need Armageddon Knight to dump something else that isn't a DDD monster, and that's why I play it most of the time. Plus Copernicus has 0 attack points, and the 1400 attack points on Armageddon Knight can really help you push the game. So, and plus you can special summon Armageddon Knight off a Firewall Dragon and then use his dumping effect then. So I definitely think it's much better to play Armageddon Knight than Copernicus, because the 0 attack on Copernicus is really horrible. Seriously, I don't like it, and I really do need to dump this next card, which is my super spicy tech, and the thing I love so much, it is 2 copies of Level Eater. Now you're probably thinking, why are you playing Level Eater for? It's not a synchro deck, or not a synchro spam or whatever deck. It's for links. The fact that DDDs have so many high power monsters, so you'll go into your Synchro, you go into your Bleeze or your Crystal Wing, and then you'll keep on eating on their levels and make links, and then you'll be able to make more extra deck monsters like that. So Level Eater is really broken because it can give you access to like double Firewall Dragon plus a proxy plus a decode, as long as you manage to get both of them in the graveyard or something. Even with one Level Eater, it really helps out, because if you normal it, you can go into Proxy Dragon and then bring it back and then go into Decode Talker. So it makes it that you don't rely off Gofu too much. Even though I said you most of the time always draw Gofu, Level Eater is another thing that can really help out if you don't get access to Gofu, or if you banish too many copies of Desires and then you don't have, then the last one is stuck in your deck or whatever. So yeah, to be honest, I think you have to keep Level Eater in. Free, you can play free. It seems a bit excessive though, because I don't want to see it in my hand. Most of the time I want to see it as in like keep it in my deck and dump it off Armageddon Knight or summon it off 1-for-1 or something. So you don't want to see it in your hand too much. You can normal summon it, and that was the other normal summon I'm talking about. It's the two Armageddon Knight, 3 Kepler, and then you can potentially summon Level Eater or Lania. So there's not too many normal summons in this deck. So I wouldn't put it to free, because I don't want to make myself reliant off my normal summon. So 2 copies is more than enough. We have Foolish Burial as well, which can dump into the graveyard. Next up, so that's it for the monsters. We play about 25, I'm pretty sure that's 25 monsters, yeah, so pretty standard in DDDs. You do play a lot of monsters, because you of course have the Pendulum monsters as well, which is Ragnarok and Kepler. So that's it for the monsters. Next up we have the contracts. We play 3 copies of Dark Contract with the Gate. Your main search card, you just activate it, search off your combo piece that you need. For example, Swirl Slime, Necro Slime, Lamia, they're the 3 cards you need most of the time. Dark Contract with the Gate is an amazing card. It really has consistency and really makes it so you can always get your combo off. Yes, going second, the combo is hard to do, but I have other cards in the deck that kind of help that out, and I will explain about going second against Dridents and stuff like that later on. So, and then our other contract, we just play one more, which is one Dark Contract with the Swamp King. I used to like playing 2, but because of obviously the link rules, it's Dark Contract with the Swamp King was normally another card you just activate, banish a couple of monsters you've already used for your combo to summon your Wave Oblivion King, the big one, the 3200 attack point one, which we do play. But obviously you can't do that as often now, because your zones will be blocked off with your Crystal Wing and your Siegfried. So 1 contract with the Swamp King is more than enough. So most people did still play 1 back before link format anyways. So it's another card that can help you out. It's a potential top deck if you get blown out, which can just drop Wave Oblivion and just finish them off. It is necessary to play 1, to be honest, because it's a really good comeback card. Next, we have possibly my favourite card in the deck, possibly the card that makes the deck work, and it's 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. And you're probably thinking it's only Allure of Darkness, it's typical draw power, but it's so good in this deck. Because I play 3 copies of literally everything, apart from Armageddon Knight and Level Eater, the fact that Allure of Darkness allows you to banish off cards from your hand if you've got too many copies. For example, if you've drawn 2 Lamia, or you've drawn 2 Necro, or you've drawn 2 Swirl Slime, the fact that it can fix your hands, it does it all the time. Every single time you get Allure, you just banish off the stuff you don't need. You can draw into your combo pieces. If you got like a kind of horrible hand where you're like stuck with 2 Vanities and like a Swamp King and other cards, and you don't really have the pieces you need, Allure of Darkness can really sort it out. Definitely one of the cards that make the deck work. I would never recommend cutting this. If you cut this deck would be horrible, to be honest. This card is keeping it alive. I'm so happy that Konami brought it back to free on ban list that came several months ago. It was like around August time last year. But yeah, Allure of Darkness is amazing. The next card for draw power is 3 copies of Pot of Desires. I was playing 2, but as I said, I needed to bump this up to 3 because obviously I needed access to Gofu as quickly as possible. Plus, it doesn't seem to be much of a problem drawing Desires activating desires into desires, and because it's a combo deck where you're playing so many copies of each card, 3 copies of all your DDD monsters and your Go-Throughs, it's really no big deal to banish 10 cards from the top of your deck if you end up having a Crystal Wing, a Siegfried, a Decode Talker, a Vanity's Fiend, or even like a Firewall Dragon instead of the Decode Talker, which I told you about before. So 3 desires, it can suck if you banish both your Level Eaters, but to be honest, Level Eater is another card that adds power to the deck, but if you've already got your Go-Through playoff, Level Eater isn't the most necessary thing if you already managed to establish your board. So next up we have the one-offs, which is 1 Foolish Burial, 1 for 1. 1 for 1's amazing because it can give you Kepler without using a normal summon, Lamia or Level Eater. It has 3 targets in this deck. You can summon Necro off of it, but why would you want to do that? So 1 for 1 is another card that can get Level Eater onto the field quicker. It adds to, like, so we have 2 Armageddon Knight, a Foolish Burial and a 1 for 1, so that gives you 4 ways to access your Level Eater, and then you obviously have the 2 Level Eater yourself, so obviously you're going to get access to it as quickly as possible. Plus if you brick or whatever, you can use this to discard the Level Eater from your hand, or discard a Vanity's Fiend that you don't need and get the Kepler on field to do your combo. Same thing with a Foolish Burial, just dump whatever you want. If you already have the necessary cards, you can dump a Ragnarok in graveyard to bring that back. I wish you could bring back Vanity's Fiend from the graveyard using the next card that comes up, but obviously it can't be special summon. And the next card that comes up, shout out to the sea. Woo! We have 3 copies of Back to the Front. Back to the Front is amazing in this deck. You're probably thinking, but it's a combo deck, sure, why are you playing traps for? I hate traps in combo decks. Well, so do I, but the fact that Back to the Front can bring back a Crystal Wing after it dies, bring back Genghis, bring back Alexander to do more plays, bring back Firewall Dragon or Decode Talker or Proxy Dragon, or just something to open up your zones and give you recovery is really necessary, to be honest. I would not cut this card. It's a good side out target as well if you don't need it, because most of the time it's good going first. Going second is kind of like meh, so you want to probably use it going first because you just want to set it. Your opponent probably tries to Cosmic Cyclone it, you bring back something that you need, like a Genghis or Alexander, as I've said, from the graveyard. So Back to the Front is a good card. Simo is right, seriously. It's such a good card in this deck. It really helps it out because this deck is so summons so many big boss monsters. That's what makes Back to the Front so good. Back to the Front is a good card because it can bring back boss monsters that are hard to bring out in the first place, and make sure you don't lose resources summoning Crystal Wing that just gets Kaiju. Because if they Kaiju Crystal Wing and you activate your Back to the Front, it's just like, okay, you gave me a free Kaiju, to be honest. All you did is like kind of MST my back row and give me a Kaiju. So Back to the Front is necessary. I would definitely keep it in the deck. If you guys want to cut it, I guess you can cut it. I wouldn't recommend it at all because it has helped me out so many times and gave me so much recovery plays. So yeah, 3 copies of Back to the Front. So that's it for the main deck. So that was 25 monsters. So with the 3 traps, that makes 12 spells and 3 traps. So it's a very solid main deck. There's not really much I want to change about it. As I said, you can probably bump down a Vanity's Fiend if you want, but apart from that, I would definitely keep the main deck as it is, especially with the Go-Through. Never take out any Go-Throughs, guys. So now with the extra deck is I wish we had more extra deck space. That's the only thing I can say about the extra deck, because there is a lot of cards that are necessary to play, but then obviously I have to cut back on some of the more nice cards that I like playing. And before we get into the extra deck, I just wanted to mention one thing. If you guys haven't noticed yet, I'm not playing Thomas. I'm not playing Thomas because it was a dead draw too much, and it was really hard to go into rank 8 plays because most of the time you banish Swirl for Thomas and then use Thomas's effect to pop your Ragnarok in scale to bring out a level 8 from your deck, but that never happens anymore because, as I said, I really need Swirl Slime to summon Lamia or even a Kepler from your hand, so I really can't bother to used Thomas just to waste my Swirl Slime, because Hope Harbinger is good and all, but I really much prefer my Link combos and my Crystal Wing, because to be honest, Crystal Wing, Siegfried, they're much better than Hope Harbinger. Siegfried's better than Hope Harbinger. Yes, it has more attack, Hope Harbinger, and Hope Harbinger can redirect effects, but Siegfried is a DDD, so when you summon it, you can use Genghis effect to bring back something, and that is very, very necessary for the combo. So no Thomas, guys. If you guys want to put it in the deck and change the extra deck up a bit, I understand, but I would not recommend it. It really was horrible for me. Some people, it was really good back before Link format, it really helped out the deck, and it could help you in recovery to get back Kepler, but seriously guys, I really didn't like it. So now with the extra deck, we have 2 copies of Firewall Dragon. Firewall Dragon is amazing. Most of the time you summon this using a decode and like your Kepler to make to move around your zone so that you can summon your Crystal Wing in the right zone, because Genghis most of the time is blocking off your zone that Decode Talker is in, that Decode Talker is pointing to, so you can't go into your Crystal Wing after summoning Siegfried. So 2 Firewall Dragon. This card is so good with the Level Eater stuff, the fact that you can just go into like Firewall Dragon, put another one next to it, put another Proxy Dragon next to it, because Levely is just so good in this deck. Next up, we play 2 Decode. Once Trigate Wizard comes out, I'd play 1 Decode and 1 Trigate Wizard, because of Trigate Wizard link markers are much better. But I play 2 Decode, one for the go through combo, and the next one for the fact that you need to summon Firewall Dragon, and if your opponent has a problematic monster on board, I need a monster that is pointing upward, but I need a monster that's a link free, because there's the way it works is you use level eaters and like your other stuff left over, like your Genghis, and then make it. So I need a mutual link with Firewall Dragon, so I normally put Decode under it, and I know that's not very good, and Trigate Wizard is much better to put under it, but for now I'm using Decode under it. This play doesn't come up too much, but I really do need 2 Decode, because a lot of the time you can summon a Decode, then use that Decode as one material. So if you didn't know, link monsters, like a link free monster, doesn't have to be used as a link, as like count as free monsters. It can be counted as one monster, and you don't have to take into account its link marker. So you can use the Decode and then move it to another zone, summoning another Decode, so that you open up another extra monster zone to be able to summon more extra deck monsters. So yeah, 2 Decode Talker. Once Trigate Wizard comes out, it will be sorted out into 1 Decode and 1 Trigate Wizard. But obviously I want to make this deck playable for right now if you want to play this in real life. Next up, we played 2 copies of Proxy Dragon. This card, it was Megaton Day yesterday, or I think it was yesterday, I'm pretty sure. I've seen quite a few openings on it. So Megaton Day was yesterday, so this card is legal in the TCG. So 2 copies of Proxy Dragon. I played the first one for the go through combo, the second one to be able to mutually link with Firewall Dragon and open up more monster zones. So there's not really much more I can say about Proxy Dragon. It's overall just a solid card. So that was a 6 link monsters. It's kind of annoying that the extra deck space is taken up by quite a few link monsters, but the fact that we can actually do link combos in this deck using Level Eater really does make up for it, and you guys don't understand how fun it is to be able to just keep on using Level Eater and make links, because normally, back in the day, it was use Level Eater to spam out synchros. Now it's use Level Eater to spam out links. If you guys haven't seen the Link Karibo Level Eater combos with Blue Eyes and other high level monster decks, you guys should check that out. I'm pretty sure replay channels like Yu-Gi-Oh! Tube does have that. It's an amazing thing to watch. But next up we have the fusions. I played the big one, DDD Wave Oblivion King Caesar Ragnarok. I think that's his full name. Amazing card. It's the card that really makes you have your comeback. You don't summon it too often compared to back when DDDs were good in Link before Link format. Obviously they're still good now, but they were much better back before Link format. But yeah, this card is so good. The fact that you can just top deck a Kepler, activate normal summon Kepler, quickly get your contract, and then go into this using Swamp King is really strong. It can really just like the fact that it quits monsters boosts up its own attack is really strong, because it makes it really hard to out if they don't have like removal or anything and they need to kill it in battle, and it can really just help you push the game and put mass amounts of damage on the board. So I would definitely recommend keeping it in the extra deck. It is a bit niche. If you want to take it out, then I understand that, but I really like it for recovery play. Next up we have another card that we don't summon all too often, but it is still an amazing card, and I have needed it quite a lot to clear out back row, and that's Triple D Dragonbane King Beowulf. I'm trying to remember these names off the top of my head because I can see the screen in front of me, but I can't like read them because it's kind of like a screenshot. But yeah, with Beowulf, it's a really good card. The fact that it can just destroy all back row is really strong. It can pop your contracts after you burn. You guys have to take into account that because the contract burn is necessary, you have to take the damage before you blow up all spells and traps. 3,000 attack points is just another card you can summon off of Swamp King to push for game, because it has easier summoning requirements than the Wave Oblivion, because Wave Oblivion needs 2 Triple D monsters, but this only needs 1 Triple D monster and 1 Double D monster. So Beowulf is really good if you want to cut it, or Beowulf, or however you pronounce that. If you want to cut it, I understand, but I would recommend keeping it around. Next up we have Oracle King. I do go into this quite a bit because it helps with synchro plays. The fact that it's a level 7 is really strong, so I would definitely keep this in the extra deck. It's just another card you can summon to one of your link zones after doing link combos, and like make sure you don't burn too much off your contracts. Like if you have a face-up contract with the Gate and a contract with Swamp King, you can gain back your life points and stuff. So it's a really good card, helps with the synchro plays into Bleeds and all that stuff if you guys have played this deck before. Next up we have the necessary card. Never cut this down to any other number. We have 2 copies of Triple D Flame King Genghis. You need this for the combo that I will explain later on. You summon the first one, then you use that one for a synchro, and then you'll summon it back and then use its effect to bring back Kalami and go into Crystal Ring and all that. So it's a really necessary card. you can keep it up on the board, and when it dies it adds a contract back to your hand, so it helps with recovery as well. It's a card that you will a lot of the time bring back off back to the front, because the fact that when it dies it adds back a contract is really good, because you kind of converted your back to the front that might have just been twin twisted or something into Genghis, and then Genghis will get destroyed and you'll get a contract back for next turn. So 2 Genghis, definitely keep it at that. So that's it for the fusions, 4 fusion monsters, and then finally we have the synchro monsters. We are not playing any Xyz because, as I already told you, I cut Thomas, and rank 4s just are too hard to make in this deck because you only have 2 level 4 monsters, which are the 2 Armageddon Knights. Obviously if you guys want to put rank 8 in there, I totally understand, but they're not really needed considering the high power synchros we have. So we have 1 copy of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, an amazing card, one of my favourite cards of all time. I love it so much. It's amazing against high powered decks. Attacking this into a Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon is probably one of the funniest things that ever happens in the whole game, seriously. The fact that they think it's unbeatable. Crystal Wing is just amazing. Obviously it's not as good as the Crystal Wing Summon off the Wind Witches, but still it's amazing. You can bring it back to the front in defense mode, so it's a really good card. Next up we have the Beals, or however you pronounce it. I think it's Beals, B-E-Z-L-E, yeah. I think it's Beals. But yeah, Beals is an amazing card against True Dracos. True Draco Demise is a pain in the arse against this deck, so I definitely would keep this card in the deck. The fact that True Draco Demise find it impossible to get rid of this card, seriously. They can only Stormforth it, and yes, I've done that before on Stormforth for Bleeze and all that, but it doesn't happen too often because Stormforth is limited. So if you manage to summon this against True Draco Demise, you should win most of the time, because obviously it can't be destroyed by battle and keeps on gaining attack and just keep on murdering masterpieces while you gain advantage yourself by doing link combos and all that. So I would keep Bleeze around. Bleeze is really good because another thing is, I say you don't summon Ragnarok too much, but when you summon him, the really good thing about Ragnarok is that you can level eat him, make him level 7, and then tune him and Lamia together to make Bleeze. So that's really strong. The fact that you can moderate the levels of your higher power monsters to go into your synchros is really cool, and that's why I love level eater, because it can help you go into Bleeze a lot. Next up we have another necessary card, 1 copy of Siegfried. 1 copy is fine, you can bring it back to the front. Obviously the extra deck space is tight. To be honest, I like it much better than Hope Harbinger for reasons explained before. It's much easier to summon as well. You don't lose too much advantage, you actually gain advantage summoning this card because Genghis and Alexander can bring back stuff. So definitely keep this card in the extra deck. The fact that it puts up a spell and trap negation, it can even negate your own contract cards if you're going to be burnt to death by them. So yeah, keep Siegfried in, amazing card, easy access to it. Next up we have the last card in the extra deck, and this is the enabler card, and that is Triple D Ghost King Alexander. Alexander's the level 7 one. It's not as good as Genghis because it can only bring back level 4 or lower DDD monsters or DD monsters, but you still need it. It's necessary for the combo. So I keep on ranting on about this combo, so I'll tell you it now. Basically it's the same as before. It's Lamia, Swole Slime, Necro Slime, and what do you call it, Gofu. So you use your Gofu, obviously, go into your Decode Talker, then you'll use Swole Slime's effect to fuse together him and Necro Slime. The thing that you have to take into account here is most of the time you're going to have to access your to do this combo properly and make sure you get Crystal Wing and Siegfried, you need to you need to get the search off Kepler. So you need to normal Kepler, get Gate, use Gate to get one of your pieces. So we already have a Kepler face, so please take that into account. So your special summon go for obviously before you do the Kepler, normal summon the Kepler, summon your Decode, normal Kepler, get the last combo piece, then you'll fuse together Swole Slime and Necro Slime to summon your Genghis. So Genghis will go in the zone that Decode Talker points to. Then you'll banish Swole Slime from the graveyard to special summon Lamia. You'll tune Lamia and your Genghis to summon Ghost King. You'll banish your Necro Slime and your Genghis from the graveyard in order to special summon another Genghis. Use Ghost King's effect to special summon your Lamia. Then you'll tune your level 1 Lamia and your level 7 Ghost King to summon your Siegfried. Then Genghis can use his effect to bring back Lamia. So right now you've got a board of Decode Talker pointing to Siegfried, Genghis, you've got a Kepler face up, and you've got a Lamia. So what you have to do is you want to summon Crystal Wing. Sorry, really sorry guys. You'll use Genghis to summon Alexander, and then you'll special summon Lamia by getting rid of the contract. So your end board right now is Decode Talker, Ghost King, Genghis, Siegfried, and Kepler. and Lamia. So that's you got your zones filled up. So now what you have to do is you have to use the Genghis and the Decode Token to summon Firewall Dragon to open up a zone, and then you'll tune together your level 1 Lamia and your Gus King Alexander to summon your Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. So that's what you'll do. So you end up with a board of Firewall Dragon, Genghis, Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and your Siegfried. But the thing is, you don't have to use Kepler to do this. There's another way to do this where you can use the Genghis and the Decode Token to summon Firewall Dragon that way. So you'll end up with a board of Firewall Dragon, Crystal Wing, and Siegfried. But of course, that's not as good as keeping the Genghis on. So if you draw Kepler, it helps out a lot. If you don't draw Kepler, it's fine because you can still use the Genghis to make the Firewall Dragon and do the combo like that. Now I know you guys are thinking that, oh, he's using Goku for the combo, that's a 4-card combo. It's not, it's too inconsistent. No, it isn't, because you have 3 Desires, 3 Allure, 3 Gate, 3 Kepler. You always have access to these 3 cards, which are Swirl Slime, Lamia, and Necro, and then you'll most of the time draw Gofu. If you don't draw Gofu, Level it can help you out with link combos and still end you up on that board. It's a lot more complicated, so I can't really explain it now. You guys are going to have to test out the deck if you want to figure out the Level Eater combos, because they're not too complicated. Once you realise how you do them, it's pretty easy, to be honest. You'll just make a decode and bring back Level Eater and help out with link combos. So yeah, that's the combo. You end up with a Firewall Dragon, a Genghis, a Crystal Wing, and a Siegfried. So it's a really strong combo, to be honest. So next up we have the side deck. Once again, I don't really like doing the side deck in videos like this, but I might as well do it because this side deck is very necessary because of some of the main deck choices. So first up, 3 Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom, my favourite hand trap right now. Best hand trap, to be honest. I like it much better than Olga. I've said this in the other video, don't need to say too much about it. The fact that it can stop so many stuff is really strong. Next up we have the card that I was talking about that you normally side Vanity's Fiend out, and we have Radion, the multi-dimensional Kaiju. Now, the fact you're probably thinking, why are you playing this Kaiju for? Why don't you just play Gamma Seal? It's because this one's dark, and that means it's an Arrow of Darkness target. So you can just, if you draw too many copies of it, or if you don't need it at the time and they bricked or something, you just banish this off with Allure of Darkness instead. And that's what I'm saying. Allure of Darkness is literally one of the best cards in the deck because it gives you access to so much and it unbricks your hand so much. But yeah, 3 copies of this, you just side out the Vanity's Fiend, put this in, and then you can just tribute this over Masterpiece. And its attack points doesn't matter, unlike in Necros decks, because Necros decks have weaker monsters. DDD have really powerful monsters like Crystal Wing, like Siegfried, so you can easily run this card over. And obviously, Firewall Dragon can bounce it back to your hand as well, using its effects. So you can, like, if they have 2 masterpieces, you can use Firewall Dragon, bounce it back to your hand, and tribute over the other masterpiece, or tribute over an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno or anything. So it's really strong. The fact that it has kind of this synergy with Firewall Dragon is another amazing thing. And Kaijus in general are one of the best things in the game right now, to be honest. As much as I hate being Kaiju myself, they are a necessary evil to get rid of these extremely powerful boss monsters. And Kaijus can hurt you, but they hurt your opponent a lot more because we are playing back to the front, and that can really help you out against Kaijus. Next up we have the board wipes, 2 Dark Hole and Regeki, obviously against Zoo. Against dinos, you can just clear their board and help you out with doing your combos without being interrupted. Talking about doing your combos without being interrupted, we have Twin Twisters, 3 copies of Twin Twisters. This is completely necessary, guys. I wouldn't play Cosmics. I wouldn't play Cosmics for the fact that you need to discard stuff a lot of the time, and DDs are really bad against back row going second, so I play this card to help myself going second, because against strikes and D barriers it really hurts. One of the good things about this deck though is D barrier doesn't hurt it too much, because it fusion, synchro, exes, and links. So they can't stop links, obviously. They can either stop fusions or synchros. Most of the time they'll call fusions, so if you somehow manage to get a Ragnarok on the field and then level eat it and then go into Lamia, you can make a Siegfried that way. So yes, the fusions are the strong point of this deck. Genghis is amazing, but the synchros can still be used, so D-Barrier does not hurt this deck too much. But it's strike that is really annoying. Warning. Some people play Grand Horn of Heaven now. There are a lot of back row that are annoying. You can Twin Twister your opponent's Cosmic Cyclone to stop themselves getting getting rid of your Dark Contract with the Gate, because Dark Contract with the Gate is an amazing card that you really need to use to go into your combo plays. So yeah, definitely 3 copies of Twin Twisters is necessary. I wouldn't play any other back row remover except this, because discarding off Level Eaters and discarding Lamias to the graveyard and even Ragnaroks to bring back later is pretty strong. And if you got too many copies of cards in the hand, you can obviously discard that to the graveyard as well. So there's a lot of cards that want to be in the graveyard, so Twin Twisters is the back row removal of my choice. Finally, to round off the deck profile, we have the one, the only, we have the Solemn Brigade, 2 Solemn Strike, 1 Warning. I can't play 3 obviously because of the space in the extra deck, and I want to keep all the kaijus and the board wipes and all that stuff and the ash at 3. So 2 strikes, 1 warning. Warning's really good against Masterpiece. You can strike your opponent's stuff. You can side out back to the front for this if you're going first and you really do need to stop your opponent because they're playing something like Zoo or something. I don't side D-Barrier because I don't really like it that much as a card. If you call it it's not as strong against like Link decks and stuff, and Solemn Strike is really good against Link decks because if they summon Firewall Dragon and you Solemn Strike it, that's amazing because they've lost so many resources summoning that Firewall Dragon. So I would play the Solemn Brigade over D-Barrier right now because, to be honest, I think the Solemn Brigade is much better. Solemn Strike is going down to 2 probably on the next ban list, but luckily we only play 2 in this deck. So that just about rounds it off for this deck profile. Seriously, I am tired from talking this long. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's bloody hell, it's a 35-minute deck profile. I must have been talking for a lot longer than I realised. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Somebody in the comment section down below said you've beaten DZeef in the art of deck profile lengthening. And yes, DZeef does it because he wants the video to be over 10 minutes. I do it because I want you guys to understand the deck best as possible. Obviously, I want you guys to know how to play the deck, know why some of the choices are included, and I want you guys to have an enjoyable video. So obviously it's going to take a while to edit this thing. I hope you guys enjoyed nonetheless. This has been MrEpic, cue epic outro music.